All right, thank you for watching us here on WLTX Plus. We are talking March Madness with Elijah Campbell and Preston Thorne. 2/3 of the early game machine, heard every morning from 6 to 9 on 107.5 The Game. Guys, thanks for coming in. This is a great time of year for a college basketball fan.
Oh, it's the best time of year for a college basketball fan. You wait from, November in the early practices. You go through all the non-conference stuff, conference slate, to eventually start playing the ones on neutral floors. And this one is the one that is the most fun. It's my favorite, 3-week stretch of the year?
Preston, I actually DVR'd the CBS selection show just to go back and watch everything and breaking down everything. Try to get some kind of intel with a bracket. What about you? I mean, you're a football guy. He played football in South Carolina.
I am self-proclaimed football guy, but I do obviously love tournament time, man. And it's the best time of the year because you get the chance to fill out your brackets. You get a chance to see who's who. You learn about some new players that you never heard of before. New schools you never heard of before. Where's Oakland? It's not in Oakland, I found out. You know what I'm saying? So all of these things are really fun when you get into this time of year.
I'm going to tell you my favorite, worst March Madness story. I'm about to go on the air 2 years ago, about to do my sportscast, and I had Arizona going into the Final Four. And this was and JR, right before I go on, says, oh, by the way, Arizona just lost. And, of course, and that was in the Sweet 16. And I remember physically doubling over. It's like, I can't believe that. And then they're like, hey, you got 20 seconds. So I had to pop back up, force myself. And then I was like, you got to be kidding. I was just, it's unreal. What is can you remember how many brackets have you had busted? You were calling those great moments where you think you had it. I mean, I was thinking Arizona Final Four. Here we go. And,
Oh, I've had so many of those. I think the most egregious one that's happened to me would have been, I think it was 2010 or 2011. It was the year Austin Rivers was at Duke. And I had them going to the Final Four, and Lehigh, a 15 seed, ends up beating them in the first round. That one completely shattered my bracket. And then, about maybe 6 or 7 years later, I had Michigan State winning the national title. And a day after, I get accepted into the school that they played in the first round, who was a 15 seed, knocked them off. That was maybe the most conflicted I've ever felt, was my bracket is busted, but it's busted by the school that I just got accepted into. So that was maybe the most conflicting, and it absolutely ruined it on day one of the tournament.
I'm going to go to the other way because my best memory is the lure of teacher bringing the TV into the classroom. But I'm from Somerville, and I guess it's 94, 95 when the College of Charleston made the tournament those years.
John Kress
and all those schools.
Great
and
guy.
Those were our teams, man. And I mean, I still know those players by name, going to see those games and seeing them play Wake Forest. They ended up losing away for us, but like Randolph Childress, it's sad. Some guy named Tim Duncan, he's all right. But but that is probably my peak March Madness memory is rolling the TV in and watching the College of Charleston play.
Last year, if Houston wins, I win a nice little bracket contest here at WLTX, and all they had to do was get a shot off in the last possession and try to get something. And 2 possessions, Florida's defense, and I was pacing. You know how much I love NASCAR. I was pacing more watching that. Because, I mean, you get the competitive juices flowing. And it was just, so when Florida comes to town, I was just like, I just have that little pit in my stomach. Just
little PTSD, a little sports PTSD there.
Looking ahead to this week, though, Duke, a number 1 seed, the number one seed, but they're kind of banged up, and their point guard situation could pop up much like it did a few years ago in Greenville when Frank Martin and the Gamecocks knocked them off.
It certainly could. I don't expect to see Caleb Foster at all playing in this tournament. I mean, he broke his foot in the North Carolina game, the last game of the year. They're really not optimistic at all to get him back at any point, and that's big because he's a 6'5" point guard in a lineup where he starts. Everybody is 6'5" or taller. They switch actions all over the place. They're about as good defensively on ball as anybody is in the country. When everybody's that big and good defensively, there's no such thing as a matchup problem for him. So that's actually a pretty big loss. And then, Patrick Agongba, the center, also out. Duke is still a heavy favorite for a reason, but if you are looking for any type of hesitancy to not pick Duke, you have your reason on a silver platter with Caleb Foster being hurt.
And Preston, we have Duke and North Carolina going to Greenville. Both are banged up, but obviously it's going to be a great atmosphere up there at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena with those 2 Blue Bloods making a relatively short drive.
Yeah, so it'll be packed and everybody will be there, and obviously we'll get the chance to avenge the regular season. And what I can't figure out is which ones matter more, because I guess that was 2 years ago where North Carolina was able to take Coach K out at home and then ended his career in the tournament too. And I don't know if it can be any sweeter than that. So Duke is on the hook. They have to avenge that loss.
Who is your surprise this year, do you think?
My surprise is Wisconsin. I'm
You
actually
saying Wisconsin?
I'm really high on Wisconsin for a multitude of reasons here. Usually, like a lot of these surprises come outside the top 3 seeds. If you're a top 3 seed, you're at least expected to get to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. Wisconsin's a 5, played in the hardest league, I think, in college basketball in the Big Ten. They have multitude of wins against some of the nation's best teams. They won at Illinois by a good margin. They're the only team to beat Michigan at Michigan this season. They beat Michigan State like a drum at home. They beat Purdue at Purdue. So, like, they've got wins over some of the best teams in college basketball. They shoot a ton of threes. They're one of about 10 teams in college basketball that shoots more threes than twos, and they make about 38% of them. Oh, and their 2 guards, too, maybe the best backcourt duo that no one around these parts have heard about. But if you've heard the name Nick Boyd, it's because he was a starting point guard at Florida Atlantic on a team that went to the Final Four. So they have experience, great guard play. They shoot a ton of threes, they make a ton of threes, and they don't have a glaring weakness.
What about you, Preston?
So Elijah has texted me with the team with Arizona, and they match all the things I love in a basketball team. They play hard defense. They don't shoot a lot of threes. They control the tempo of the game. And so I've been sort of watching them this year. They won the Big 12 championship. So I'm excited about Arizona and wanting to see how they compare. Unfortunately, I think they're going to have to run up on these dudes. So they're in the same bracket. So we'll see how that turns out.
I remember what Arizona did to me a couple. Again, we just go
Are
back.
you just offering them? Are you offering them totally?
I might roll with St. John's and Rick Pitino. I might roll with the Godfather. See if the Johnnies can get it done. He is Preston Thorne. He is Elijah Campbell. We can hear him every morning from 6 to 9 on 107.5 The Game. The captain of the ship is not here, Jen Jensen. If you're watching, Jen, hello. And you guys will be in Darlington Friday?
That's right. Yeah,
all right, my hometown, my home track. All right, looking forward to that. So check them out every morning on the radio, and thank you for watching us here on WLTX Plus. Remember, CBS is your home for March Madness starting Thursday at high noon.